All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Hawaii Board of Optometry meeting. Before the meeting is called to order, we will play a short video to explain the procedures for this meeting and to explain how members of the public can participate and interact with board members.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on, as well as their video cameras. Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Internet access. To view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You will be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier which will remain anonymous. You will be asked for an email address. You may fill in this field with an entry in an email format, example name@email.com. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about that agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. Phone access. If you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the Zoom phone number listed at the top on the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering star and then 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering star and then 9, voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and then 6 on your phone. The voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you're finished speaking, please enter star and then 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specified date and time. This information will be provided on the board's website. I'll now take roll call. Members, when I call your name, please respond with present or here And if you're joining us remotely, indicate if there is anyone at your location. Dr. Wallace Kojima,
Present, I'm all by myself.
Dr. Clay Serrell,
Present.
Ms. Gail Chen. Also present. Okay, I'll now call the meeting to order. The time is 9:20 a.m. So first on the agenda, we have approval of the minutes of the last meeting, May 1st, 2024. Is there anyone that would like to provide testimony on agenda item 2?
Thank you, Chair. No one wish to provide testimony at this time.
Are there any questions or amendments to the minutes? No. So, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the minutes of May 1st, 2024. Do you have a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes for, May 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Gail Chang, motion and a second.
Peter Stroll.
Peter Searle, second. There being no objections, motion carries. So on to agenda item 3, application. Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony on agenda item 3?
Thank you, Chair. No one wish to provide testimony at this time.
Okay, so the ratifications, it's a long list we have. They've all been vetted, everything looks good, and names are all posted. So, do I have a motion to approve the list?
I got sure motion to approve the list.
And second,
A second.
Gail Chang. So the motion to approve DPA certification, and license restoration, there being no objections. Right. Does anyone have any objections? Hearing none, thank you. Hearing none, the motion approved. Congratulations to everyone. Okay, agenda item 4, request for CE program approval. Is there anyone that would like to provide testimony on agenda item 4?
Thank you, Chair. No one wish to provide testimony.
Okay, so this time was my turn. So the CE requests were, there's quite a number of them. So index number 24-5, treatment for glaucoma, 2 hours requested, and 2 hours PPA were granted. 24-6, a diagnosis of dry eyes, 1 PPA requested, 1 was granted. 24-7, lumps and bumps, by Dr. Higa, 1 hour requested TPA, 1 hour granted. 24-8, macular degeneration, also by Dr. Higa, 1 hour TPA requested and 1 hour granted. 24-9 by the Hawaii Optometry Association, 4 hours of TPA requested and it was granted. 24-10 glaucoma by Hawaii Vision Specialist, 2 TPA hours requested, 2 granted. 24-11-1, primary angle closure, glaucoma by DSP, 1 requested, 1 TPA granted. 24-11-2, optic neuropathy by DSP, 1 TPA, requested, 1 granted. 24-11-3, retinal vein occlusion by DSP, 1 TPA requested, 1 granted. 24-11-4, glaucoma by DSP again, 1 TPA requested, 1 granted. And finally, 24-12,
Motion to approve these.
New business, agenda item 5. Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony on agenda item 5?
Good Chair, no one wish to provide testimony.
This time I'd like to turn it over to our actual Terry.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Chen. So currently, our administrative rules require that licensees submit their CE prior to renewal. And in order to verify their continuing education, they are required to send in original certification, original certificates, which list several pieces of information: the name of the organization, the name of the licensee, the place, the title, the number of hours, the course date, the index number, of course, this board is approved, the signature of the lecturer, and that if they don't send in originals, they have to give us good cause for sending in copies. The board has previously discussed revising this rule, but that's a very long process. And I was wondering if the board would verbally approve the things that they said that they would like to accept when the new rules come through. Those types of things were transcripts rather than certificates, so transcripts from ARVO or other organizations. Unsigned certificates, because sometimes the entity doesn't sign them, they just have a stamp, or it's just from the entity. And then the third thing I want to discuss after you approve those two things, if you would like to do that, is if we can accept photocopies or copies of the certificates rather than originals. I understand. Well, can we do the first two first, and then we'll come back to copies? There's a little bit more copies I want to discuss. If you all are acceptable to me accepting transcripts and unsigned certificates, I would like that put in the minutes, so there's no confusion in the future if you all go off the board or if I go to another board.
So yeah, that has come up before, and we have done it in the past with them. And the signature also did its part, especially now.
Carrie, can you guys speak a little louder? I'm having a hard time hearing the.
Oh, certainly. Sorry, Dr. Kojima. I was asking the board if they would, if they're in agreement to put in the minutes that I can accept, that the board will accept transcripts of CE coursework taken and unsigned certificates. If the entity didn't sign the certificate, that we could still accept it. Until such time as the new rules come in, and it's part of the rules that we can accept that.
Yeah.
And Dr. Chin was getting ready to ask for a vote if everyone was agreeable to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it would just streamline the process easier.
Yeah.
Make it easier for us in the future.
I agree. I think I would vote yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do a motion. I want it in the minutes.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposed changes as discussed?
Dr. Snow would like to approve the motion, have these
Second,
approved.
Bill Chang.
any objections? Hearing no objections, we'll pass the proposal for the land.
Well, it's to accept those until the rule change
Until
comes,
the rule change.
yeah, in which case they'll already be part of this. The second thing I'd like to discuss with the board is currently we require licensees to submit original copies of their certificates. I understand that a lot of certificates you just get via email and you have to print those out. It's technically a copy because it's not original from the entity, and I accept those. I don't give people any problem with that. But a lot of people want to save paper, or they don't want to give me their originals because another state they're licensed in requires the originals. They've already submitted them. So my question to the board is, are copies or photocopies of original certificates acceptable. For example, Hawaii Optometry Association, it's very easy to tell if that's a original certificate because it's small. Yeah, it's only a quarter of a page. And if that's on and if it's on one of these, I know it's a copy. And I say, I need the original because that's what your rules say. And people are like, but I'm saving paper. I put 4 on one piece of paper. So, currently your rules say, we need or infer that you need the original copy. So my question to the board is, are you okay with certificates? If it's a copy of a certificate, I think the idea was that if they make a copy, they can write something out and change their name on it and then give us a copy. And we wouldn't know that they were not the original receiver of that certificate. That's why I'm bringing it to you. I know there's about 4 people that, 4 entities that only do internet, they email those certificates. And I just accept them because that's all they're going to get.
Mhm.
And I would spend the next 2 years having them contact the CE to get an original certificate. But what is the board's opinion on copies of certificates that I know it's not the original. Yeah, so I don't know what the board's feeling about that is. How much pushback do I give the licensee? If this isn't an original certificate and you're supposed to send me an original certificate.
How often has that become a issue in for this last licensing period, for instance? Has it been a common thing?
Well, there's about 400 of you that renew. And I'd say it's often enough that I'm bringing it to you. I don't have exact numbers, but there's some licensees are like, oh, okay, here you go. And some licensees get pretty hot about it. Why do you need the original? Why are you asking me for that? Here's a copy. I already sent the original to someone else, or I just made copies. What's the problem? So.
What do other boards do? Do they require originals or, because we are one of the stricter boards, we do 20%.
Yeah,
Certification, right?
yeah.
So I see that. When I came on the board, I thought that was archaic. Because half of the guys, if not 3/4, we don't get the original, they send us the email,
Yeah.
which is technically a copy. Then we have this in there, which doesn't jive.
Right, and I like to operate under the assumption that everyone's gonna be truthful and honest to me. These are my CEs, but I also know that, not everyone's as naive as I am, so.
Well, hopefully we are all honest.
Yeah, I would assume that your licensees are giving me their CE
Yeah.
certificates. But it's in the statute, and I don't know how.
When would that come up to be changed?
Well, it would be in your rule revision, because it's a rule, right?
Right.
And your rule revision doesn't, it says that you can submit proof of continuing education. This is the suggested language, certificates, transcripts, or reports. It doesn't mention whether it should be original or not.
I see no problem in it if they use the photocopy. I think we'll keep up with the time, right? You cannot police them, they do all that. So my feeling is, I think it's okay. Anybody else?
Well, I sat on the demo board, and in fact, I just got audited the last session, and they accepted all copies. So, and I submitted more than what was needed, than required. And it was a packet this thick, but it was all copies, and so I never got any callback or saying, these were accepted or whatever. So I'm assuming all of them were accepted and it was fine. So the demo board, and we do 10% of our licenses, so they do 10% of the dental dentist and 10% of the dental hygienists.
Because this has come up in the past, and I'm glad Harry addressed it. So I think it's something that we need to do to streamline it and make everything, easier. And, like I said, keep up with the time, right? I think then photocopies were pretty rare back then, but it was probably
Yeah.
or not as ubiquitous. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
No, I agree.
Dr. Kojima?
Yeah, I'm for the copies are fine.
So if you guys can put that in a motion that I can accept copies and photocopies of the certificates, it'll be in the minutes and there will be a question in the future.
Okay, so I'll propose motion to accept copies of valid CE. Education.
I moved to approve the, whatever they were hoping, but.
Photocopy of
Photocopy of the,
valid education.
I move to second.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, motion passes. And we are on to. Okay, agenda item number 6, election of chair and vice chair, for next year. Is there anyone who would like to provide testimony on agenda item 6?
Thank you, Chair. No one wish to provide testimony.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna take nominations for vice chair and chair. And everything's going so smoothly, I would like to nominate Dr. Castro for vice chair. Okay. Do we do it singly or?
You could nominate yourself for chair at the same time if you want to.
Okay. And then I nominate myself for chair for the Board of Optometry. Are there any objections? No objections, do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, Chang,
A second,
move to, approve the, nomination of Dr. Chen as chairperson and Dr. Sale as vice chairperson.
And I got.
okay, second, yeah,
on
a
that.
second.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any objections? There being no objection. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 7, next board meeting. Scheduled for Monday, November 18th at 9 a.m. Everybody good with that?
I think I'm good. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the week of Thanksgiving, but it's on Monday, so it should be good,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then agenda item number 8, adjournment. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 9:39. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for
Okay.
good input.
Thanks, Wally.
Okay, see you guys.
We'll see you all.
Thanks, Andrew.
It's a beer, the Wally, we're in a beer now.
Thank you for
Yeah.